I have been making my own spinach tortillas, but I'm trying to not use any grains because I'm trying to lose weight. So I just made this, and this is cooled down, but look how beautifully bendy this is. It doesn't look pretty, but so easy to make. This is just spinach and egg whites and a little bit of flax to bind it together. And I use this as a sandwich wrap, or for breakfast, I can actually put an egg on top. High protein, no carbs, and the flavor is just fantastic. So try this. It's so easy to do. If you have a blender and a frying pan and some basic ingredients, you can do it too. So normally I use fresh spinach in this, and I have been doing that for the last month or so, but then I was actually doing some price comparison because I'm trying to save money. And fresh spinach for 280 gram package was $7.99, so basically $8. This bag of frozen spinach, which is 500 grams, was $2.99. So we're trying it with frozen spinach this time. Really basic ingredients here: egg whites, ground flax. I ground this myself, but you can buy it already ground at the bulk store, and some spices. So we're gonna do 2 cups of frozen spinach and 1 cup of the egg white, which is already in there. So we're just going to add a teaspoon, roughly, of, I like herbamare. You can also just use sea salt, but herbamare has other nice flavors in it, which I really like. So, you know, about a teaspoon. So like that. Again, you know, you really can't mess this up. It's pretty straightforward. And garlic powder. So we're just gonna do a little bit of garlic powder here. Whoop, way too much. Hold on. And I found 3 tablespoons of ground flax. You need that to bind everything together. And we're trying to avoid gluten. You could also use flour if you want flour, but we're really trying to avoid it. 3 tablespoons of ground, this is golden flax seeds. And I tried this the other day because I had this left over in the fridge, and just some sun-dried tomatoes were fantastic in it. So you don't even have to rinse them because that little bit of oil is going to be super nice. 3 of these sun-dried tomatoes, maybe 4. Okay, as I said, it's rather imprecise, right? You really can't mess it up. And maybe just a little bit of that oil. Boop. Okay. So now we're just going to grind it up and we're going to fry it. So I'll see you in a minute. All right, because it was frozen, I had to encourage it a little with this, very carefully turning it off and on and off and on. Glad I didn't put you through that. But now it's really a nice solid piece. So we're going to get our pan turned on, and we're going to fry some of this up, and you can see how it turns out. So you want to make sure that your pan is hot, and don't try and cook pancakes on a cold pan. So the way that you find that out is to just put a little bit of water on your fingers, and if you hear that, that tells you that it's nice and ready. Make sure you don't crank the heat up too much either. I put it on about a level 2 here, and you just have to be patient with it. If it's too hot, you're going to end up burning your pancakes because they need a bit of time for that egg white to cook. Every single time you do a pancake, give a quick spray. Even though it's nonstick, you still need it. And even though there's oil in the batter, you still need a little bit of oil on that. So just give it a little thing on the center, and we're going to just plop. And we're going to spread it out a bit because it's fairly thick. We're going to spread it out so that it has a nice flat, sort of even edge. We don't want a lot of hills and valleys in the pancake because it won't cook evenly. So it's pretty thick, this batter, so you can't just pour it out of the blender. So spread it out a bit, and now we just wait until all the edges start to cook up and it starts to bubble in the middle. Waiting. So when you can jiggle the pan and it starts to move around, you know that you've got a decent surface that you can kind of wiggle underneath and just flip. You can see that it's puffing up a little bit. As it cools on the rack when it's finished cooking, it is going to flatten again, so it's not going to be quite as puffy as it looks when it's cooking. But, you know, we can see that it's starting to loosen a bit. Don't try to lift it if it's sticking. It means it's not cooked yet. So you just got to be a little bit patient because we're doing a lower heat. But remember this when you're cooking actual pancakes too. A lower heat, you're going to get a much more even cook. You're not going to burn your pancakes, and we have to treat these like pancakes. We don't want them to burn. And I think that's pretty much done. And we're going to set it on a little rack to cool. If you don't have a rack, it's no biggie, just set it on a plate. But it's nice with a rack because then it's going to steam off and it's not going to be super wet. So don't be afraid to use your spatula to just kind of smooth and flatten it as it's cooking. You really can't hurt it. It's if you want it a little bit flatter and smoother and more circular, you can be super fussy with it and make it look, you know, more aesthetically pleasing. You can see that it's moving around freely now, and it's going to be ready to flip. Just be pretty aggressive when you go under it. And then there you go.